Good morning, everybody. All right, the numbers are out. Markets are up. That whip around. And I think we're just going to be in for more whipping for a little while. Erratic price action. These patterns, a lot of uncertainty, obviously, and you don't get drops like this and things go back to normal immediately. Big direct drop like this, and yesterday prices were gapping down there and the premiums on the downside were ludicrous, and we took advantage of that with SPX, juiced up so low, and that's what happens when there's a panic. Of course, when we do assess everything to see how far is that premium, and do you think it's probable that it'll go there? And so the buyer stepped up after a little whip yesterday, and then they threw in the towel a bit near the close. So wasn't that kind of confidence at the end of the day that, buying into the close and staying up there. Anyway, this is going to take time to settle down. Just continue with the factory work, the time frames that being used. So additional stabilization where they are now, gapping up to the high of yesterday's bar there, as you can see, still well below even the midpoint of the move down last week on the weekly chart. So any of these gyrations right now are just that, reactions after a short-term extended move lower. It is on support, and it's going to take a few days for this to unwind now that that news is out of the way. For CPI, we'll continue to speculate on more news and what the Fed is going to do and so on. There'll be sellers up here, right? Minor resistance. We'll see what happens if, it can get up in there. And so our bias will be that as far as, well, let's stick with today for now. Prices should stay above this low down here, right? 375-ish. Maybe they don't even get there since they're gapping up, and the midpoint of yesterday would be where things should find some buyers. Again, looking at the hourly chart, it's gapping up into resistance. Can it hold here, make a higher low, or retest this area? And it's probably not getting above 394, 395-ish, right? That's the resistance area. So those are our two lines, just looking at SPY to stay, below 395, give or take, and stay above, say, 375. Right? Those should be the extremes. Let's take a look at the futures. And so we see it so far, it's an inside day. Right? What are the gyrations kind of just running in place, and the whipsaw of, the gap up, big bar down, further down, yesterday's whip back and forth, tails on the top and the bottom. Maybe today just turns out to be an inside day, within that range, which is, basically what I said, give or take of prices staying somewhere in the area of yesterday's high. And you can see those pivots up there and above this low, at least. And so it gives us a starting bias, and we look at SPX. Average ranges short term have been about 78 points. Looking at my other system. All right, so it's gapping up around here. Just drag this down here, and there's the juice. Jake is fantastic helping me out here. All right, which I did see. I looked at the low end. And so with our bias now, we say, where would we be willing to sell that premium? Where is that premium? Right. So 37.95, 37.90 is even okay, a little less, but okay. 37.90, which is below here, below 3,800. And Jake is telling me 40.15, but let me look. Those things are moving up. I suspect that is correct. Which Jake is usually correct. 40.15. 40.15. No, that's not correct. It's only 20 by 30 cents. We have to go down to 39.90 to get 70 by 80. So 39.90 is acceptable. Right? It's got to get through the 200-day, past minor resistance, and just checking open interest on the upside. 39.50. 39.50. It's got the largest open interest expiring Friday. I think 39. Well, 39.90 is 60 by 70, 39.85. I say it's not getting there today. That would be a monster bar, right? To have moved, even though it's gapping up, right? It's gapping into resistance, and then it's got to get all the way up here and through the 200-day moving average. So that's all credit spread is. I don't think it's going there. Right? And is there premium? When is that going to expire? And so I like that. And just checking down below again. 37.85 or 90, 37.85. I don't think it's going either one of those places. All right. Let's see what other markets are doing. This is just a mess. Obviously showing relative strength, on this retest pattern, which is good. That there is something out there, especially tech is showing relative strength. Looking at charts, Microsoft looks like it can go higher. So while this is messy, Microsoft looks a lot better. Overall, I think this weekly chart, if closing by Friday looking something like this, would be encouraging. See if that could hold on to this gain, like retest and not falling apart. But plenty of overhead resistance. But you can see all the resistance there, all those pivot highs. We'll see if it can go sideways there. Could this continue up toward that high? That would be impressive if this could expand. But again, keep an eye on Apple and Microsoft and the usual, things that could move this, to see what they're doing. Give some insight into that. And small caps, they got killed. Now look how they're moving up here. Clearly, this is communicating appetite for risk has flipped, right? Meaning here it's like, get the hell out of the way. The end of the world is coming to, I can handle the risk. I think it's okay. And that's something, take a look at is, along with that, is junk. And you see it's pre-market, but that's going up a little bit and the Russell's going up a little bit. So at least some kind of bullish action or bias to start the day, and we'll see how it unfolds. The Dow, it's just been destroyed. It's, maybe an overstatement, but, broken below all of that support that it was creating. It's got this void below. It held the pivot over there to the left for now. If it doesn't rally significantly by Friday, if it's still chopping sideways here, whatever's going to drive it, who knows? But the next leg down will come, I imagine, next week. Just looking at typical dollar moving down a little bit. See gold is down. And so that moved up a bit, maybe a little profit taking and a little, hey, I think everything's going to be okay. So it's not going to be the end of the world. A little selling in there, even though the dollar is lower. Silver's a little lower. But, it made a big move. So part of this is fear. Is it real? Well, like I said, I think everything's going to take a few days to settle down. Bitcoin, that's insane. But we were chatting in the green room a few minutes ago, and I said, people, I'm in my mind anyway, people looking for places to put money where they believe it to be safe. And Dan says, Bitcoin safe, and which I get, but when your perception is that little to anything else is safe, including your local bank, Bitcoin appears safe and maybe not as safe. And who knows, are government bonds safe? So you can see where the thought process is going, with what is safe when you don't even trust government bonds, which is supposed to be riskless, just about. So volatility is going to be here for a little while. Superficial. What time is CPI is already out? It's already been reported. I forget what the number is, but now everybody's speculating. Well, will the Fed increase based on what's happened or not? Oh, different opinions about that, of course. All right. So just going through the rest. This was interesting. The Fed won't do anything, and this gap down yesterday, and now it's right back up here. So it's more like maybe the Fed is going to increase interest rates. Banks, hedge funds, everyone else speculating based on the information of the moment as to what's going to unfold here. But this was gapping down yesterday, communicating they're not going to do anything, and now for this to move that far that fast certainly communicates that, well, maybe they will. Right? A lot of maybes out there. The 10-year, bouncing off of support. How many times can I say, look to the left with all the different opinions, analysis? They went down to the prior low and it bounced up. All right. Transports, broke down. So there's lots of damages done. We all know that virtually wherever you look. There's some stocks that we reviewed yesterday in the green room that were totally untouched and look great. So, there's always that, stocks or possibly sectors that are on their own page. And the fact that semiconductors are holding up relatively well and the Qs are holding up relatively well for now, that's encouraging as to whether, this has just got to settle down and, the markets will continue their consolidation after the run up that we saw at the beginning of the year. So don't get in love with anything, and let's see how things unfold in the coming days. So the crude oil, is just in this trading range and now coming back down to the bottom of it. So we'll see if buyers want to step up again or whether this is now a bigger topping pattern. So we don't know until we know. We'll just have to see what happens. And I think we'll get a clearer picture, by the end of the week as we need to gain more information because of the uncertainty created by the news and these wild price action. So it is what it is. Trade accordingly. Well, yours, Dan.
Good morning. By the end of the week plus, don't forget Fed meeting next week. So the action today is markets up, of course, but these these bank stocks, regional more so, just absolute insane moves. Like there was one yesterday, I think was 80% off the low. Absolutely insane. Look at this RF. Look at that collapse. So you do the math from 14 bucks to 20 and change divided by 14. We shorted naked puts on this. We got naked puts on KRE. They're just these climactic buy setups all over the place. And we went far away. We shorted the 34s, $10 lower. And could it go there? Of course. You'd never hear me saying when I put on a trade, of course it's impossible to fail, but we're odds traders. And I did a couple other bank ones, but I know I'm playing with fire, so I didn't give them the subscribers. All right, yeah, there's a couple beautiful longs that in many put spreads that we were holding off yesterday, just because of the little afternoon sell-off. I had them loaded up here. This is pre-market. Oh, I lost my vertical line for pre-market. Shoot, how did that happen? Alex, you'll have to help me get that back. But this is pre-market. And so we sold off into the close, but I had a bunch of put spreads right in the afternoon, provided we held strong. And now they're all good to go. I sent out new Telegram alerts and told you all the ones I'm watching, but there's a lot of great things. Look at Cream. It's a buy, pro gap on earnings. It's a buy setup, reversal on support in the 20. What else do you want? That's beautiful. Octa slop here, but put spread, because this is a buy setup from a square top as opposed to a V top like Cream. So that's a great little lesson. So this one but day trade looks fine. So I have a day trade bias, provided we hold the gains and get a controlled pullback. D-Dog, Climo on support. I see put spreads all over the place. In the big bank department, I have Morgan and JP Morgan are the best for put spreads. Tesla we had in the weekend letter. There's a buy setup at the 50 over yesterday's high, but it looks like it's gapping over the high. So we'll watch these on pullbacks. Zulu Sierra, Climo 180 on support. I mean, these all look great for put spreads. ENPH, bottoming pattern, a little deeper retracement, so not as keen. I'd still like that to take out Friday's high just to have a more potent turn. Myrna here. This is a textbook W bottom. I don't know why it's so hard for so many people to see it. You got a momentum move down, you got less than a third retracement, and then you got some type of retest. They're all going to come in different flavors. So this retest made a higher low, red bar ignored, wide range closing breakout with a price void. So I'm going to put Myrna right here. That looks fantastic for a bounce. It's in a downtrend, but it looks great. This Schwab, I am so mad when this thing was breaking out right here yesterday morning. I was gonna, the $30 puts for Friday were $1 by $1.05, and I was just shocked that it was that big. I mean, these premiums are reminding me of coronavirus low in 2008, and I went to pop that bid and it dropped on me. It just immediately dropped to 70 cents. And then I saw on CNBC or whatever, I flipped between him and Fox. Ray Dalio, they came out and said Ray Dalio was buying this yesterday. And so I talk in the green room a lot about when I'm playing with fire, extended stocks like this. I mean, I know we all know Schwab, but my question was, how exposed are they to this financial nonsense that banks are going through, because they have a bank also. So they're more than a traditional, brokerage firm like Interactive Broker. But the chart said it was ready to bounce and still looks higher. Bravo Golf, it's gapping right. Oh, it's gapping over resistance now. Look at that. That is what we call a pro gap. Now, all setups, all gaps are different. And now this is an excessive gap to me, but it would be ideal to get a controlled pullback. I don't think it's going to come anywhere near this. So I'm guessing. I would not want it to see it retrace deeper than like $97. See my horizontal line there, because then it's getting deeper into support. But this has room to 105. So let's keep an eye on that for a put spread, and also entering on a pullback. Coin I had on my long list right there on that breakout failure day on March 6th. That was on my core long list, but I was waiting for the close, and I waited. Good thing, big old topic tail. But now, look, it's not gapping over resistance like Bravo Golf, but it's gapping into significant. This will be hourly resistance and daily, but there's still a lot of junk there. But this is now a breakdown failure with a bullish, the start of a bullish bottom on the weekly and monthly. So this obviously is going up with the excitement in Bitcoin here. Man, Bitcoin just ripped again, like 1,500 points just in the last hour. Absolutely amazing run that thing's done. Amazing. Airbnb, it made a lower low, but kind of a measured move, and that's keep an eye on it for put spread. CMA, yeah, Patrick, there's so many banks. I have a bunch of them in here, and so that's why I like focusing on the ETF. Our team here gapping down, relative weakness. Really nothing to do with that. But that's why there's so many Climos. But our Romeo Foxtrot, they just had this monster wide range bar, and I was saying I would bet money that this is the largest range bar in this stock's life. I mean, that's just amazing percent relative to, look at all these little bars. This bar actually is scrunching this data. It's so big. But that is one monster day. So that one was great. Delta Tango, another pullback on support in the 200 on your march. Yeah, I told Greg that. Done. Yeah, I told Greg to fix it on the next one. I'm adding this to my core watch list. Big old top. There's nothing to do today, but look at the monthly. Wide range bar, and now a retracement into this. when I see things like that, I hope it takes another 2 weeks to set up. Adobe, I just had an up alarm. This was on our list also from yesterday to see if it could make a turn on support. Nothing to do now, but it's on the list. All right, Morgan, I posted as a put spread, again, PH. I have an alarm at 220. CMA we just talked about. That's too sloppy for me for a swing. Cream, I like a lot. Zulu India. Another Climo, but see how this Climo, there's no support to the left. This one was in the news, I forget. They're doing a stock buyback, that's right. But that could be a put spread for Friday. Here at GAR had earnings, no interest. This thing getting walloped on earnings, 31 bucks. Wow. We'll come back to it, just possible excessive gap situation. AMLX, I think its earnings 37. There's another pro gap. Just like Bravo Golf, that's a pro gap right there. We'll come back to it. DCGO, I see a couple prints up there. That's another pro gap. Like, that's weird. Look at these little dots. So, Lyft, there was something in the paper. Lyft won something in California about not having to become employees, but no pattern there. Opart, it's a Climo, and now it's gapping down. This is earnings. I think it could be a possible what we call gap and snap. It's already down a lot, far from the 20. Now you're gapping down another monster percent. I'm not a big fan of stocks under $5 unless you get a beautiful intraday setup and then you can do big shares. A bunch of earnings and comments came out in the airline sector. UAL, a guided down. So now that's a big old topping pattern with a breakout failure. We said last week that Jets was topping out. And right on that bar. So last Thursday, we were looking to sell a call spread, but there was no juice. Love, that is the relative weakness in the sector. Look at that downtrend, daily, weekly, monthly. That's ugly. And that's the one that had all those computer problems with the during the storms. All right, Delta here is what we call a bull gap surprise. 30-minute high, possible day trade. Blade, I thought I read that Tesla kicked them out. I didn't expect them to be gapping up, but price action tells all. So that looks like it could bounce for a day trade. Doing nothing obviously here at the open. AD line over 1800, tick 1300. So that's very bullish on this gap up, the internals, the volatility tanking. Q's put spread for Friday. Yeah, D-Dog I have posted as a put spread already. Yep, D-Dog. D-Dog, Tesla. Tesla looks great. Cream. Yeah, shoot, Cream gapped over. All right, so I'm going to send an alert saying anything that gapped over. I'm bullish for a bounce. Yeah, that gap's too big. We're not going to get filled. That gap's too big. Just experience, I can tell. Same with JP Morgan, but I just typed if you get filled on the pullback. JP Morgan might, because see, notice how the entry was yesterday's high. And now we're right. See, oh, I got filled on one of my banking puts. I was bidding a nickel. Let's see which one I got filled on. All right, RF. I sold them yesterday for 51. And I just got filled at a nickel. I put out bids pre-market. We did the $12 puts. That was such a beautiful trade. Beautiful trade right there. Hey, I know I'm playing with fire, but look, this FRC I did yesterday, I did the $15 puts for $1.20, and now they are 15 cents. Man, the volatility has just come screaming out of these things.